The Anatomy of Fear, A Mortal Mind Unabridged by Valerie Lynn Stevens. One day I just stopped breathing and couldn't resist the consequent feeling of an intense laissez-faire which freed me in a way I had never been freed before. And I no longer had to balance that looming dread of being pulled under from passivity or being pulled under from assertion, because the truth was that I feared redemption the most. But is it solely human fallacy or some unholy providence which guides us each to our potential demise? Sometimes the answer to this is definitely harder to grasp than that of the original question. Yet perhaps survival is overrated and living is just as easy and natural as breathing. Yet I suppose the journey towards true and abiding earthly liberation will continue to run itself in circles. For the beginning is the end, and the end is just yet another beginning. For what most fail to realize is that redemption and salvation are obtained not through perfection, but through depravity and infirmity. Perhaps I will just surrender my disheveled mass to the tidying gaze of God, for in not allowing life to dissect me, I might run the risk of never being put together just right. Yet the nature of the beast is to run for cover as self-preservation again assumes its primary and most noble goal in undertaking. And yet I also often ponder if things are really as complex as they seem. And also I wonder if simplicity is merely reserved for the faint of heart. Caught between the will to survive and the will to perish, where does one go from here? Where will I go from here? How can I adequately speak of the panic which rises up to meet the sullen earth of my cursed birth, an exited womb yet still hemorrhaging with the portent of slow self-slave? Yet is this bent towards self-defeat truly a mask presented to confound the outside world of that invincible internal dictator, more proper, which is our one true guide and master? So they cannot see thee, so they cannot taketh away. Am I the means to your end, Mr. Deathwish, or the end of your means? Do you speak with eloquence or in spite of it? You know, I have an offer to propose just to get you off my back. How about a much-coveted heart of gold to pawn when you're hard up for cash, and the grand bribe, the brains of your most coveted enemy jarred in formaldehyde? We all have something of bribing value to offer ourselves. Others, seemingly nothing for ourselves. You're not the only one, Mr. Deathwish, who seeks salvation at the pricey cost of true transcendence, as you carelessly barter it for the animal comforts of an us versus them elitism. Oh, let us count the ways in which we fill our days with antagonism so that we may know one, to take one, for merely another scapegoat of torture, yet a torture which really goes on first within ourselves, so as not to feel alone in our unjustified sadomasochist pursuits. Do you really see your own reflection in me, Mr. Deathwish, or is this just some kind of post-pseudo-adolescent puppy love? Or is it even more twisted? If it is either, then perhaps there has been some kind of misunderstanding because I'm not into that kind of enmeshment. Or perhaps I am the one who sees right through you, as I continue to perplex your one-track mind. How much difference does it make whether I give or whether I take? For either way I will fulfill the joy of me will. What is it worth if I stay or if I go? What is it worth if I know what I know? What more is there to prove if there's nothing left to lose or gain as I perilously perch myself upon the plateau of potential? And finally, to lend my candor to your riddle, Mr. Death Wish, how many times can others destroy me? Innumerable. How many times can I destroy myself? Definitive.